For a coaster enthusiast, summer vacation is the perfect opportunity to visit new theme parks and travel around. And every year I try my best to visit a brand new theme park. But this year it's something special. Typically I wouldn't go to very big parks, especially with my home park being Six Flags Over Texas. Sure, it's a great park, but it's not the ones that coaster enthusiasts go crazy about, like Cedar Point, Magic Mountain, and Disney. But for the first time ever, I'm visiting my second ever Cedar Fair park, Carowinds, in Charlotte, North Carolina. And for a quick summary, this theme park has amazing roller coasters, from the unique Copperhead Strike, to the thrilling Afterburn, to one of the longest, tallest, and fastest coasters in America, Fury 325, a B&M Giga Coaster. My first Giga Coaster, may I add. So after driving 15 hours, we finally made it to the one and only Carowinds, and we're gonna explore my first ever visit at this amazing and historic theme park. So we're here at Carowinds in Charlotte, North Carolina, and already walking in, the very first thing you're going to see is Fury 325, a B&M Giga Coaster that's a beast, and it goes right over the pathway. It was testing earlier, so we could have rushed over here, but we didn't see it in time. In fact, there it goes. One cool fact about Carowinds is that it's the only theme park that's located on the border between two states. That's right, this little blue line in the middle of the park signifies the border between North and South Carolina. And while I explore the park today, I'll be in two states, so that's really cool. So I can't believe we're here at Carowinds, and first things first, I want to say thank you to all my subscribers and viewers because I wouldn't be here without y'all. Carowinds is a park I've always wanted to go to, and if it wasn't for YouTube, I wouldn't be here. So anyways, shout out to y'all, and back to the video. One minute before the park opens. Opens at 10. It's about to be chaos real quick. First try of the day going to be Nighthawk of a Coma Flying Dutchman coaster. That's very bad capacity, and we heard that it's probably the best ride to do first. So we're going to test this theory out today on our really first visit. So I had really low expectations for Nighthawk because when I was planning my visit for Carowinds, a lot of the reviews were overwhelmingly negative. But after personally riding it, it's not that bad. In fact, I really love it. From the suspense of going up the lift hill without seeing the drop, to flying close to the water, to the corkscrews, this ride is actually great. So after Nighthawk, a generally good start to the Carowinds, we're heading over to Windseeker. To me, this seems like a Star Flyer, but not really. In fact, it goes a little bit slower, but it's still a good way to start the park, and we're gonna get some good views if we ride it now. Up next, we're on Copperhead Strike, and let me tell you, it's one of the most themed coasters here in the park. The train, the station, waiting in line, the queue, it looks amazing. And the coaster itself is insane. Right off the bat, you immediately go upside down with a twist, right before heading into a launch, with a layout packed full of airtime, hang time, and whippy turns. This coaster has everything. Next up, we're headed to the newest addition at Carowinds, Aeronautica Landing. A newly revamped area of the park that's themed to airplanes and aviation, complete with amazing new attractions, and honestly gives such a cool atmosphere. This area has a great collection of amazing attractions, and I'll just summarize them real quick. We have Windstar, a really fun attraction for the families, and gives you a great experience of hang gliding without going really high. Hover and Dodge, a revamped bumper cars attraction that has some amazing theming and a really fun soundtrack. Gyro Force, a typical spinning attraction that's like El Sombrero at Six Flags Over Texas, but again, really cool theming. Air Racers, a Zampella Super Air Race attraction, similar to Daredevil at Fiesta Texas, with the exception that you're not going up into the air. The Air Walker, a typical spinning boat attraction, but it's actually really forceful and a lot of fun. And finally, Gear Spin, a Zampella Nebulas, and one of the most popular flat rides we see at a lot of theme parks. Of all the attractions in the area, we did about 4 of them, with my personal favorite being Hover and Dodge. Yes, it's bumper cars, but bumper cars are a classic, and with the added theming, I actually really enjoyed this ride. My least favorite would actually be Gear Spin. It's a really cool attraction to look at, but this patch takes a long time when you're boarding the people on the top of the ride and the people on the bottom. Plus, as for the ride experience itself, it's pretty basic, and you just go up and down again and again as you spin. Again, really cool, and maybe some people like it, but to me, it's not really a standout. Regardless, this area is amazing, and if you're going to Carowinds, you have to check out Aeronautica Landing. Next up, we're doing Afterburn, a B&M invert that is amazing, and it's something that I haven't done because I wasn't able to ride Silver Bullet on Osprey Farm. So the only inverts I'm used to is the Batman clones. So this is going to be definitely a pleasant experience and something that's better than typical inverts. Formerly named Top Gun the Jet Coaster before being named Afterburn, yes, that Top Gun.
Need for Speed.
The theme suits this coaster perfectly because it truly feels like you're riding in an extreme jet with lots of twists and turns. It's definitely one of the most intense inverts I've been on, and with the layout essentially being hidden behind the trees, all the inversions become unexpected, which adds a whole nother thrill factor, especially when you're sitting more towards the back. Sadly, at Carowinds, you can't really choose your row, so while I didn't get a front row ride, sitting towards the back made the coaster 10 times more extreme, and I was essentially being hauled throughout this insane layout. Overall, it's amazing, and it's something you can never see with those Batman the Ride homes. So we went to Carowinds on a Saturday, and surprisingly, it wasn't that busy. And since we were there for the entire day, we did our best to get some new roller coaster credits. To our surprise, we actually did a lot of these rides. Some were actually more fun than I expected, and some, well... The fact that it has the train similar to Judgeway Scream already is a red flag. And now's the moment of truth, Fury 325, my first speaker coaster. I'm super excited, and let's see this amazing attraction. So while waiting in line, I do have a pro tip. Here at Carowinds, they have a very different policy when it comes to loose articles. Contrary to Six Flags, where they have the little bins to place your stuff, at Carowinds, not every attraction has that. For example, Fury and Copperhead Strike. They will not let you get in line if you have a bag or anything that cannot fit in your pockets. Meaning, you have three options. Number one, you pay for a locker. And personally, it's not worth it. Sure, it's like $10, but there's no need to waste money when you have these two other options. Number two, if you're going with friends or family, if you have someone you know that doesn't want to ride Copperhead or Fury, you can let them hold on to your stuff. But the best option, especially for a first timer like me who wants to ride everything, is to bring pants or shorts that will hold all your stuff with lots of pockets. It definitely comes in handy a lot, and you're going to save lots of money. Anyways, back to the ride. So if there's any coaster that lives up to the hype that it gets, it's definitely Fury 325. I've seen videos of people reviewing the ride, coaster enthusiasts talk about it, and they always say it's the world's best. Well, they're right. This coaster is the definition of fun. A coaster that makes you want to ride it again and again and again because that's how amazing it is. And so if you're at Carowinds, you have to do this ride. And for those who get to go to Carowinds all the time, you guys are blessed up big time. I need to see a coaster like this in Texas soon. So at this time, it's almost lunchtime, but before we go check out the amazing food here at Carowinds, let's check out a few more attractions. So next up, we're in this very retro ride called Scream Weaver, and full disclaimer, it has no seatbelts. Not gonna lie, I was really expecting to not like this attraction at all because it reminds me of Endeavors, and Endeavors make me really sick and I don't like them. But surprisingly, I'm liking these older models better than the new ones. And surprisingly, I don't get sick, plus they're a lot of fun. So for lunch, we stopped at the Jukebox Diner to try out the food here at Carowinds, and while I'm not gonna lie, it was overpriced at $17 for a burger. It is kind of worth it because it was the Carowinds anniversary burger, and the portions were great, and it was very delicious. So our next attraction is the Carolina Sky Tower. We're gonna go get some views around the park while we wait it out because Intimidator is closed. The attractions I came here for are the ones that are not operating. Luckily, so far, it is not that busy today. A lot of people go to theme parks for only the roller coasters, but especially if it's your first time, you need to do more than just the big rides. Sometimes a small flat ride or just something that's not very special can make a very special experience. So while Intimidator was seen to be testing, the attraction still remained closed, but I figured it would probably open later, so in the meantime we're going to head over to another area of the park and explore some more attractions. We're over here in the country fair section where the Carolinas come together, and the next attraction we're gonna do is Rock and Roller over there. So to summarize the county fair section of the park, it does have some pretty good charm to it and a lot of fun attractions, which include Rock and Roller, Do-Si-Do, Zephyr, Electric Spin, and a boomerang coaster named the Flying Cobras. It's a really cool area to check out some classic attractions, and my personal favorite was Electric Spin because I love the hang time it gives you. Plus it sort of reminds me of Harley Quinn at Over Texas. Only downside is that capacity is kind of bad on this ride. While we were on our way to Intimidator, we decided to stop and take a look at Camp Snoopy, the kids area at Carowinds. And honestly, it's a really cool area for the families. First off, it's bigger than typical kids area and has lots of shade, which is something Carowinds doesn't typically have. Not only that, but all the attractions are unique and different and offer something new for the whole family. Plus, they have a wooden coaster for kids, which is actually really fun, and we did ride a few times. So for the families who are worried that there's nothing for the kids to do at the park, trust me, there is. Something I didn't know is that Rita's is actually in Carowinds, and they have special flavors themed to the attractions in the park. For example, the Fury Freeze, which is my personal favorite, and I definitely recommend it. Once we saw that Intimidator was testing, it was about to open, we headed straight over there to be the first ones in line. Super excited to do Intimidator, even if people say it's not like Euro 325. Sure, Intimidator is no Fury 325, but I was very excited to do it because it was a coaster I always wanted to ride since I was little. Whether it was on TV for Insane Coaster Wars, yeah, you heard me right, Insane Coaster Wars, the show.
This is Insane Coaster Wars!
Or hearing YouTubers talk about it back in the day, I always wanted to ride this coaster and now I finally have the chance. So regardless, this is going to be amazing. I was expecting these gates to open, but they're testing it again. Please don't close down, dude. Please. So the ride currently broke down. Now we're waiting it out. Because we are not losing this spot. Number one. Sure, Intimidator was no Fury, but it was still one of my favorite rides I've ridden. Sitting in the front means the trims affect you less, so of course I got lots of airtime. And while yes, the mid-course breakaway kind of reminds me of Titan, at least it doesn't come to a complete stop and you're still having lots of fun. So overall, a great ride at Carowinds, and the fact that they have 2 B&Ms is crazy. So as day came close to an end, we pretty much rode almost everything in the park, but we still had some coasters and rides we missed, so we're going to speedrun them, and share my thoughts briefly on them. Next up we did Flying Cobras, the boomerang coaster, and while yeah, it's just a boomerang, I wanted to do it because it had the new train, something I haven't experienced just yet. And not gonna lie, the trains made this boomerang way more enjoyable and it's less jerky or bumpy. Not to mention, I really love the detail on all the trains that make it look like you're riding on the airplane. Honestly, one of the better boomerangs I've ridden. Next up we did Go Rusher, which is a typical mine train coaster, and honestly has a very similar layout to Runway Mine Train out over Texas, the very first mine train coaster. The beginning's pretty similar, but then once you're in the second half, it's very unique, and I really love the head chopper effects. Only downside is that 1, the seats are very uncomfortable for some reason, and 2, the ride was way too short when it was getting good. Overall, it's alright, but Runway Mine Train is definitely better. With an hour and 30 before park closing left, the sun setting, and Fury having no one in line, you know what we had to do. Fury 325 Night Ride. Overall, my first ever visit to Carowinds was absolutely amazing. I got to try one of the world's best attractions multiple times, and also explore the unique rides and things to do at this amazing park. So if you've never been to Carowinds, trust me, from a first timer, you need to come to this park. And sure, while Fury might be down at the moment, there's definitely way more things to do and enjoy. And for this year only, Carowinds is celebrating their 50th anniversary, so every night when the park is closing, they got an amazing fireworks show / drone show. So yet another thing you cannot miss. Anyways, what a great visit, and I hope to come back soon. And if you're still watching the vlog at this point, you're a real one. Thanks for all the support, and if you want to see me visit more theme parks, make sure to subscribe and tap the like button. Anyways, thank you for watching. This is JB Thrills, signing out.